Hello, I'm trying to understand how hard it will be to beat Warcraft 3 without using any heroes. And this time, let's beat the Blood Elf campaign. That means, do not use any heroes, as they do not exist. Allied heroes are allowed. I can't control them. Heroes can be used if it's necessary for the mission objective, and to complete the game on hard difficulty. In Misconceptions, we need to repair 3 observatories. Nothing special about it, right? But as an experienced no-hero player, I noticed that we only have 1000 wood in our pocket. That's not much, especially since it all be spent on repairs. So the first thing we need to do is to stop repairing them, cause otherwise we might quickly run out of both wood and gold. Usually there are miniature buildings available, which we can use to construct base quickly without spending any resources. However, without Cal, I can't use those. Once I've cleared the path, acquired some boats and reached the gold mine, I can finally start building. It's a slow process, and there's not much time to waste due to nearby undead base. It's not large and we could destroy it, but I decided instead to quickly gather the large amount of wood, repair 2 observatories, and move on to the third one, guarded by level 11 gnoll. Simply repairing the observatory didn't work. It appears that you still need to kill this gnoll. With the rest of my army, I barely managed to defeat him, and after a few seconds, the main quest was finally completed. In the Dark Covenant, we start with 5 bases, but will almost immediately lose them. Before that happened, I collected as much gold as I could, because I won't have access to gold until I retake my gold mines. The goal here is to destroy green undead base, but there will be 4 more bases. The trick here that our forces are limited with only elves. The Nagas will assist me in this task. My ultimate weapon here is a Naga Royal Guard. It's a powerful as a hero, but it doesn't count as one. Initially, I started attacking the small base. It was quite easy, but the second base was larger and had additional forces. I didn't fail, but lost some valuable Nagas, so I decided to restart the mission and change my strategy. Once I obtained my Nagas, I attacked the larger base before its forces could grow stronger. Luckily, the first attack from the green base targeted the observatory, allowing me to protect with capturing the smaller base without interference. Afterward, I returned to my base to help defend it. Next, I cleared out the other side of the map without any problems. This reduced enemy aggression significantly, as it left only 1 base, which is the main objective. It wasn't easy, but I prepared my towers nearby to eliminate most of the defenders. Our forces are relatively weak, but with Naga's support, it's much more manageable. I remember previously losing my Royal Guard during the first big base attack, but this time he survived everything. Perhaps this mission has become slightly easier in Reforged. The Dungeons of Dalaran starts only with Kael and Bash, and we can't do much with just them. We need to break open the cages holding our allies, so they can join us. I have to free at least 1 cage to get a non-hero unit, and then we can actually start the mission properly. We should try to save as many allies as possible, because the enemies here are pretty strong. Since we don't have Cal and Vash, we can't open any secret passages, but that's fine, we don't really need them. You also have to accept that you won't be able to stop every alarm. You simply don't have enough damage output or the right spell for that. In fact, we actually want to catch alarmed enemies because they will go after Kael. As for the secret level, you can't open it. it can be triggered by normal units. The enemy forces get more dangerous towards the end of the mission, so I have to slow down and pull them apart carefully. But that's basically the whole mission. Even the final boss, Jailer, isn't that dangerous, so there's nothing particularly tricky there. In the search for Illidan, Illidan has been captured by Maiev, and we have to capture his cage and move it back to our base. Sounds simple, right? At first we only have heroes available, but I'm glad there's a mercenary camp nearby so we can hire some demons to help. Fighting off the enemy waves is tough. My forces aren't strong enough to make a big push, so the progress is very slow. Eventually I managed to kill Maiev, but I couldn't capture the cage using non-hero units. Fine, I'll use Cal for that. Just need to make sure that he doesn't get attacked or attack anyone himself. That's a good plan, but there's no way I can fully secure the path. And Maiev is already resurrected, and I just don't have enough time to make it safely. At least on this corner, there's a big gap between the cage and the enemy forces, so I can move Kale there and he will be relatively safe. From this point, I have to move very quickly because Maiev is already back. But the cage moves at a snail's pace. It's painfully slow, so I have no other options but to fight Maiev again. And now she is stronger. She uses a health stone to heal 30% of her HP. She casts her ultimate ability, making the fight significantly harder. And even worse, he has a huge army of elves backing her up. In the end, she can just blink and recapture Illidan, if I'm not careful. I tried fighting her again, but it felt impossible. Then I realized my Eridars have a stun ability, and there's a fountain of power nearby that restores both mana and health. Potentially, I could stun lock her if I managed to pull her away from the rest of her army. I managed to lure her out with a small group of enemies, but even then, it wasn't quite enough to keep her stunned. I tried to buy some time, hoping maybe Maiev would blink into a weird spot or somehow forget about her objective. And then, it happened. I was hiding near the fountain. Maiev was right in front of me, but a druid of a claw decided to be a hero and completely blocked Maiev from reaching me. She was too close to the Void Walker to blink, but too far to hit him. She could poison him, but I could mostly manage that. Druid in human form don't deal enough damage to kill me, and with the fountain's regeneration, I could survive indefinitely. That was the solution. I just needed to control the Void Walker carefully, because he actually could kill the druid if I wasn't paying attention. Unfortunately, Vash got discovered somehow, and I had to remake this whole setup all over again. With this plan in mind, I tried again, and this time the druid was in bear form and I had to wait until he shifted back to human form. He finally did it, and I trapped them in place. Meanwhile, the allied base was being destroyed by the elves. But it didn't matter. Maiev was so focused on killing the Void Walker that she completely forgot about her original objective. And Illidan slowly made his way back to safety. In Gates of the Abyss, we need to protect Illidan while he closes the Demon's Gate. We have to do this 4 times, each lasting 3 minutes, while being attacked by waves of demons. Once the Fellstalkers appear, they start hitting Illidan with mana burn immediately. I decided it was fine that during the cutscene Illidan changed his color from red to green, so technically during the defense phases he is not really mine, right? Even with that in mind, The demons eventually overwhelmed me and actually killed Illidan. And fall back? I guess if you fail a gate for the first time, it's not a big deal. You can just regroup, prepare better, and try again. So I built a lot of defenses and trained tons of Cautels. I also helped the Draenei destroy the orange orcs, mostly because I needed the gold mine there, honestly. I tried attacking the purple orcs, but they had way too much dragons. Green wasn't easy either. I made several attempts to break through, but it seemed impossible for now. Anyway, I resurrected Illidan, and the Cautels turned out to be really good against the demons, killing almost all of them as they spawned. So I repeated the same defense for the second gate, and for the third, and for the final fourth gate. But then I started feeling guilty, like I had broken my own rule. Illidan was technically under my control and in my team, and I wasn't supposed to let the demons touch him. So I decided to reload the mission. My new plan was to build a sorceress and cast invisibility on him. But the first wave of Fellstarkers would still target him. They would lock onto him no matter what. So I made a bold choice. I killed Illidan myself at the very beginning. Since I was killing my heroes with my own units, there was no issue, right? And now I had all the time I need to rebuild my Coatl army and prepare even better. I repeated the same strategy for all 4 demon gates, but this time I also built some towers to draw the demons' attention away from where Illidan had been. And it worked easily. No enemies touched Illidan at all, because, well, he wasn't even there. In Lord of Outland, we need to kill Magtheridon. Usually, you have here invisible Akama and powerful Illidan. Together, they can deal with everything without support. But before we can do that, we must defeat the Master of Pain and the Master of Terror, as they each hold a key to Magtheridon's private room. Instead of heroes, we have only one, no, actually 2 powerful units, the Naga Royal Guards. But before we start, we need to build an invisible wall for the elven side and start clearing the way with the Nagas. We don't have many resources at the beginning. I decided to kill some neutral units to farm a bit, but they don't give any gold, and we can't collect gold without heroes. So we are pretty limited. I cleared the first orc base on the Naga side without much trouble, but the second one had a powerful hero, which was a serious threat to my small army. So I decided to help the Elven side first. To do that, I need to thin out my invisible wall and use an invisible Draenei to press the button that creates a bridge. While their hero kept staring at the invisible wall, I used my Nagas to clear out the small green orc base. When I reached the second purple base, I found a spot where I could use the Nagas' crushing waves to destroy their altar, preventing their hero from resurrecting. With that done, I could safely destroy the base without worrying about their hero. Meanwhile, the level 10 hero from the left green base had also wandered over the invisible wall, so I struck their base too. It took some time to destroy the crystal with just a single Draenei, but it was worth it. Then I killed the Master of Terror. He was surprisingly easy with the Nagas. As a reward, I got 2 Fell Warlocks, which was nice. Before going after the Master of Pain, I built more Nagas with the gold I had and got some Demolishers. Now, with my entire army, elves and Nagas, I was way over the food cap. I attacked the Master of Pain, and right after he died, somehow all the orcs guarding the invisible wall detected it, break through, destroyed everything, and returned to their base, only to attack my Nagas immediately afterward. I wasn't expecting that. It was a huge surprise. I had to reload and deal with those orcs before killing the Master of Pain. I managed to pull their level 10 hero and his forces separately and kill them with minimal losses. Then, to lure out the rest, I killed the Master of Pain and faced them into their old base. Now there was nothing left but to face Magtheridon himself and his forces, of course. There are actually 2 more level 10 Blade Masters. Is this a joke? Well, at least the first one, along with a pack of demons, could be handled with my wall and demolishers. That's something. But for Magtheridon's pack, it was different. I couldn't pull them apart individually. They always came together, including Magtheridon himself sometimes. That was rough. So I returned to my wall strategy, but this time they could actually see it, probably because of the Infernal's immolation aura. I had to fight them right there. At least the Blade Master wasn't with them. I decided to take my chances, and after dealing with Magtheridon's minions, I fell back to the nearby fountain to heal. Luckily, Magtheridon didn't retreat too far. He stayed alone nearby. But even alone, he was still very strong. I managed to control him with Cripple and Stuns, bringing him down to about 50% of HP. After I healed up again, I pressed the attack. He was out of mana and couldn't do much. I had a real chance now. But this time he got angry and didn't let me retreat again. He chased me down, forcing me to fight. I was worried that he might have a resurrection ability, but it turned out he didn't. And once he fell, it's a victory. Well, with that, the Scorch campaign lies ahead. I have no idea how hard it's going to be, but I'm sure it will be the hardest part.